Good morning, evening, or night, everybody. I'm Jext, and in this video, let's talk about a few must-haves Splatoon 3 needs to be the best in the series. Now, before I start, I have already covered ranked mode and how I would change and fix that, so if you're looking for anything about ranked mode, please check my previous video. I will link it below. Now, number one, this is pretty simple. Do not lock content behind these arbitrary week or month limits. Now, Splatoon 1 and 2 both did this. Splatoon 1, it made a little more sense since it was a beginning IP. Splatoon 2, it didn't make as much sense. But when the games release, a lot of content that fans like is kind of missing. In Splatoon 2, it was much more apparent. Range Blaster, Splatbrella, other types of weapons, maps, and even a mode were just missing from the game. They weren't released until later, all for the sake of just having constant updates. I think that's kind of lazy development. Locking away content for weeks and months is just kind of annoying just for the sake of saying, oh, we have something to release next week. No one really wants to wait for old maps or weapons or gear that they've already seen and that they already have in a previous game. Either give us all the good stuff up front that we're familiar with, or don't give it to us at all and make it a very distinct, clear line between this is in this game and this is in the previous game. Creating that strict boundary between what players should expect and should not expect only helps to clarify expectations and prevents disappointment while giving new things appropriate time to shine. Think about it like Nintendo Direct predictions. If you always predict a certain game is gonna get announced or given a release date in this Direct and it never is, you probably won't focus on the stuff that actually is announced or given a release date. It's sort of similar for Splatoon. If you're always focusing on, oh, Range Blaster is gonna get announced this week, and it doesn't, you're probably not gonna care that much about what actually is. But if Splatoon 3 was like, Range Blaster will be released on this specific date, but look forward to what's released this week, you'll probably be like, okay, and focus on what was actually released that week. On to number 2, an update timeline. Now, Splatoon 2 did this toward the end of the game's lifespan, where they sort of laid out what would be added to the game in I think they said it was a few waves. Do something similar for Splatoon 3. Give the community and players an idea of what is to come right from the jump. That would be amazing because it would allow fans the opportunity to not have to hypothesize or build unreasonable amounts of hype for something that may not come. Either they know it's going to come immediately or they're going to have to wait for it. It gives people something to look forward to and work off of in terms of a competitive organization. Nobody wants to play a tournament when it's a new patch that day or a really big update. Some diehards also don't want to work if there's a big expansion coming out. They might take a half a day off work or the whole day off work if they want to play, and it would be great to know if those things are coming in advance. It also allows for a relatively easy documentation of community activity in events. Now let's go into number 3. Japanese and English patch notes released simultaneously. Obviously, I don't speak Japanese, so when the Japanese patch notes for Splatoon 2 released, I would have to rely on Google Translate, fan translations, Twitter's kind of crappy translation feature, or just have to wait an extended period of time for official confirmation via the English patch notes. Having them released at the same time would clear up any confusion, any translation errors, etc., and just allow the community to know exactly what's being changed at the same time. Number 4 is sort of branching off of that, more detailed patch notes. Including more information and parameters, maybe some sort of visual comparison or something of the sort, would really help in taking patch notes to the next level of clarity and understanding. Take a look at this section of patch notes for Overwatch. Regardless of your stance on Activision Blizzard, they do patch notes relatively well. They list things like Splatoon does, damage changes or cooldown reductions, but they also describe the thought process behind the changes, which allows players to understand why they were made and essentially just increases the amount of transparency between the developers and the players. The more trust that is built between the devs and the players, and the more that players understand how the game is made, how it's played, and how it's patched, the better off the game, its community, and its developers will be in the long run. Number 5, better stats available to the player. More detailed and better statistical information about gameplay is crucial. Splatoon 2 already includes a ton of advanced statistics that aren't directly shown. You have to go to the single-player Octo Canyon, and you have to talk to Callie and Marie to view these. They're random on what you get, and that is kind of ridiculous. Wouldn't it be nice if you could view things like how many kills or deaths you had on the zone, how many seconds you rode the tower, how many points you scored with the Rainmaker, how many clams you picked up, your KD ratio in the last 30 seconds of Turf War, or, I don't know, kills on opponents riding the tower, how many times you picked up the Rainmaker, how many power clams you created, how many times you died with your special gauge full, how many times you died right after jumping into a match, how many dodge rolls you do a minute, your accuracy percentage with blasters, and the list goes on. Wouldn't it be nice to have all of that information available to you at the press of a button instead of having to go into some random single player area and listen to Callie and Marie's dialogue randomly hoping you get the stat you want? Advanced statistics like that are readily available would be a boon to competitive Splatoon, data fiends, and players just looking for specific stats that would help them improve in specific areas. If I'm trying to hit more directs with a blaster, and I can view exactly how many I'm hitting, then I can see if I'm actually improving with a hardcore stat. Number 6 sort of branches off of that, a better implementation of Splatnet. The app right now is functionally useful for basically 3 or 4 things: checking rotations, ordering gear, looking at your relatively simple stats, whether it be the last 50 games you played or your lifetime stats, and reporting people. There really isn't a good example of a console game with a good mobile app tie-in, so we're going to have to imagine the changes on this one. Imagine if the app allowed you to access those aforementioned advanced statistics at the touch of a button. You could literally just pull it up on your phone and see exactly how many seconds you rode the tower in that match, how many seconds your teammates rode the tower in that match, how many kills, deaths, and assists you had in a match, how much turf you covered. The list goes on and on and on. Imagine if the app also had some sort of Twitter or Discord integration, so you could allow for easy sharing of those aforementioned advanced statistics, or allowed you to get special wallpapers or stickers or view achievements. Yes, that's number 7, achievements. Splatoon 3 would benefit greatly from achievements, and Splatoon 2 kind of already has some. Reaching certain turf levels like 100,000 or 1,000,000 gets you a badge on a weapon. Winning a certain amount of matches in a row in Turf War gets you a certain color flag for your weapon. Those are kind of like achievements. Now imagine achievements for that and even more. Imagine you get an achievement for 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, 1,000,000 turf on a weapon. 10 wins, 50 wins, 100 wins, 250 wins, or 10 Rainmaker dunks, 10 tower KOs, a kill streak of 10 splats without dying, or getting a kill with a splat bomb on 2 opponents at the same time, or some other random wacky combo. All of these and even more could be integrated into some sort of achievement system in-game and sort of as a lifetime completion list. Let's say you get a kill streak of 5 splats in a row without dying. That would give you, 500 extra experience at the end of a match. Add that into a bunch of other parameters and you could really increase the amount of experience you get at the end of a match, which would make grinding gear and levels way easier and more fun. It would also incentivize people to try new things in matches and just overall try to play better. And then think of achievement awards. What if for every 100 wins you got on a weapon or 100,000 ink you got on a weapon, you got a sticker, whether it be one of the gear logos like Zinc, or you got an actual sticker of the weapon like a Splattershot Pro, and you could put it on your ink tank or on your hat or on your shoes. Or you could do something other than stickers, maybe keychains or mem cakes from Octo Expansion. All of these could be simple rewards that allow for further customization a fun collectathon, and a large completion list for avid completionists. That would be sick as hell. Now on to number 8. Improve the gear system. The RNG is currently the biggest buzzkill for gear grinding. So how do you fix that? Well, get rid of it. Still allow people to level gear the same, with the aforementioned increased experience potential that you could get from achievements in matches, but allow people to guarantee a certain ability with a ticket instead of just an increased chance. Also, change the amount of chunks you need to swap an ability from 30 down to 10. Also, allow your coins to be used to re-roll and increase the number of orders you can have at one time to about 5 or 10. Also, completely eliminate the RNG involved in orders. If you order a piece of gear that has 3 slots available, you get a piece of gear with 3 slots available. The randomness in that is just completely unneeded and kind of ridiculous. Streamlining the gear grinding process means more people are actually playing the game and they're spending less time staring at merch. Number 9. Adding room codes. Whether it be private battles or league battles, adding a room code just streamlines the process. The Switch is an improvement from the Wii U, bumping up the friends list from 100 to 300, but adding just a random player for a one-off tournament match or just playing with your favorite streamer is kind of a hassle to have to get their friend code or their name and then find them and punch it in and add them and then wait for them to confirm it, and then you have to go back in and find them on the friends list and then click on it and then enter a passcode. No, eliminate that. Do it something similar to Mario Kart. Give them an 8 to 12 digit number, they punch it in, and you're in the lobby. You don't need to be friends with anybody in there. If you have the code, you're in. Boom. Number 10, a better training room. Think of a game like CSGO, which allows players to play offline with bots, or Overwatch, which has a practice range, or just regular programs like AimLab, which allow for quick aim practice. Implement pieces from those into a training room mode in Splatoon 3. Allowing for free exploration of maps and improved training leads to better map sense in players, theory crafting, and strategic discussion. If I can jump into any map in the game at any time, I can test, what weapon might work in this scenario better. Or if I always fail a certain jump on a map, I can practice it over and over and over until I get it. That just means that players are going to be able to get better faster, and the game is going to be more competitive and fun overall. Now, on to number 11. Add a camera mode. We kind of already know that there is some sort of camera mode in Splatoon 2. The devs will release certain screenshots, at least on the Japanese Twitter, every now and then with certain characters posed in certain ways. And if you have the amiibo, you can access some sort of pseudo camera mode, but add a fully fleshed camera mode. They are only becoming more popular in games nowadays, and it allows anyone to show off the beauty of the game. It also gives artists better looks at game models and could lead to something like photo contests or just allowing people to post their photos in the plaza, which could just lead to a more interesting plaza in general. Number 12. Improve Spectator Mode. Now, this is relatively simple. Just add more angles for the spectator to view at. The more angles, the better. Also, add the ability to highlight players on the map, highlight the objective, or highlight certain areas of the map. In competitive, this would be especially helpful. If a team is pushing into a region of another team, it would be cool if you could highlight certain sections of the map and be like, they might push into this area or this area. Number 13, and our final change. Please improve the level rewards and the level reset rewards. Getting 1 snail for leveling up is kind of lame. I would say increase it to about 5 snails per level, and maybe at every 10 levels you get 10 snails or 15 or 20. And add some sort of unique reward for resetting your level. Maybe you get a custom sticker like we mentioned before, or you get a different skin for a weapon, or you could just get a certain achievement. I feel like incentivizing people to reach higher levels in the game incentivizes players to play the game more. And the more people that are playing the game, the healthier the community is, and the healthier the community is, the more fun pretty much everybody's going to have. I think that about wraps up all the must-haves that I think Splatoon 3 needs to be the best game in the series. There's probably some stuff I missed, so I might make a second part of this video. If you have any changes or must-haves that you think Splatoon 3 needs, please put them in the comments below. As always, please obliterate that like button and demolish subscribe if you want to see more Splatoon content. I'm Jext. Have a good one.